guys, my name is Trinh and today I'm here to film a very excited video for the end of 2018. If you cannot guess by the title, this is my favorite books of 2018 video. And of course I have a lot of books I have to mention because I read a lot in 2018 and I'm very proud of myself, you know, like a pat in the back for reading at least 75 books. I don't know the exact number of books because I'm planning to finish one more book before the end of the year, so hopefully 78 books of 28 or like in 2018, sorry. Even though I did read a lot of books, not all of them stand out to me. There are books that I do like, there are books that I love, and then there are books that disappointed me. And if you don't know, I did upload a disappointing books of 2018. I just finished filming it, so of course that video will be up before this video, so I'll link it in the cards and also in the description box below for you to check it out. So of course for today's video, I'm just gonna talk about the books that I love so much in 2018, the book that stood out to me the most. The first one is no surprise, I don't think. It is of course The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I have not shut up about this book since I finished this back in March of 2018. This book follows a teenage girl named Xiomara Batista, and she lives in Harlem with her family. It's mostly about her relationship with her mother because her mother is very religious. She is a devout Catholic, and Xiomara starts questioning the faith, starts questioning the church, and Xiomara has a lot of feelings, of course, so she is a poet, so she writes in her journal. Like I said, this book is really about her relationship with her mother because they always clash with each other because her mom has so many strict rules while Xiomara is very rebellious. That's all I have to say because there's so much more, but I don't want to give out too much because I think this book is so fantastic. I love it so much, and I'm planning to reread it in January of 2019 because I miss the story so much and I want to read it again, of course. This is a novel with verse, so it is very different from your typical novels. The other ones are like in paragraphs and stuff, but for this it is written in verses, so it tells a story, but it's very unique. Like I love the writing. The writing is beautiful. Like Elizabeth Acevedo is such a talented writer and a very talented performer because if you don't know, she is a slam poet. I think that's what you call it, like a slam poetry performer. This story is so powerful because it is about a teenage girl and her strained relationship with her mother, and I feel like a lot of teenagers can definitely relate to that. So yes, highly recommend The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. It's so fantastic and I cannot wait to reread it in like a week or so, or like in a few days, because you know it's about to be the end of 2018 and the beginning of 2019. Now the next three books are all trilogy. I feel like some people know what I'm talking about, and it is definitely the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book, Clockwork Angel, and then the second book is Clockwork Prince, and then the third and final book of the trilogy is Clockwork Princess. And yes, I have all of these in hardcovers. I'm not gonna lie, about the first two on thriftbooks.com because I really want to have like the full hardcover set. If you don't know, I have a book review and discussion for all of the books for the Infernal Devices trilogy. All I have to say is that this is my favorite series of all time. Yes, it has been Harry Potter because Harry Potter used to be my #1 when it comes to, you know, like favorite series of all time, but this is my #1 now. Nothing will beat the Infernal Devices trilogy for me. So yes, Harry Potter is now second place. This is first place no matter what. The first book, Clockwork Angel, stars with Tessa Gray, who is from New York, and she basically goes to London to be with her brother, you know, because her brother moves to London like a few months before her. But lo and behold, she gets captured by these two witches and she is introduced into the Shadowhunter Chronicle. Nope, wrong one. She is introduced to the Shadowhunter world and she meets Will and Jem and Charlotte and Henry and Jessamine and a bunch of characters, and they're all fantastic and I love the series so much. Now if you don't know, I think this is pretty obvious, but there is a love triangle in the Infernal Devices trilogy. Now usually I'm not a big fan of love triangles, but this love triangle in the Infernal Devices trilogy is different from all of the love triangles I've ever read about because this love triangle is nothing but love and support between these three characters. Will, Jem, Tessa, nothing but love. It's so beautiful to watch as these three characters love and care for each other so damn much. I've never read a book like that or like a book series like that. Unconditional love is in this book between these three characters, and it's so fantastic to read. This series means so much to me. Like I have multiple copies of this trilogy alone and I cannot cannot wait to reread it in the future because it's gonna be amazing. That's all I have to say. Like, I love the Infernal Devices trilogy very much. The next book I want to talk about is Passing by Nella Larsen. I read this book for school for like the fall semester of 2018. This book follows a woman named Clare. She's actually mixed, half black and half white, but since she is light skinned, she could pass as a white woman, and she has done that for like the past 12 years. She's married to a very racist white man, and he doesn't know that she is half black. So she has to hide the secret for a long time, and then one day she is reunited with her childhood best friend named Irene. Irene is also mixed, and it's basically them rekindling their friendship. And then I believe Irene is the president of this club or something like that, but it's basically a place where a bunch of African Americans gather together and they have parties. Clare wants to join the black society again. So in this book, Clare enters Irene's world, and it's her joining these African Americans again after 12 years of passing as a white woman. This book is so damn good, and it's so short. This is only 120 pages, but it was so fantastic. Everyone I know has loved this book, and I am one of those people. You know, I love this book. It makes you think. Even though this book is mostly about Clare and Irene, the topic of passing is brought up quite a lot in this book. Even though this book is mostly about passing as in your race, you know, like Irene has passed as a white woman for 12 years because she is light skinned. I feel like there is another interpretation when it comes to passing, like passing as in your sexuality. And then of course there are other forms of passing as well. Yeah, it's just really good. Like, this is one of the best books I've read for school. I highly recommend this book if you're interested. Like I said, it's so damn short, but it's so good. The next book on this list, of course, is another book I read for school, and that is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Now, this book, a lot of things happened when I was reading this book. Basically, I was reading this book for school, but then I started Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. So I dropped everything, like including this book, to read Lady Midnight. But then after I finished that book, I but I continued to read this book. Even though everyone in my classes have finished this book, you know, I finished it and it was really good. The main character in this book is Dana, and one day she just travels back to like the early 1800s to save her ancestor Rufus. Basically, whenever Rufus is in trouble, he has this ability to call on Dana. So she just travels back in time to help him, but then also she has to pretend to be a slave in the 1800s. Even though this book is about time traveling, the explanation is not really in this book. We don't get a proper explanation about this phenomenon, about how Dana can just travel back in time because Rufus calls on her whenever he needs her help. So we don't have that explanation, and I'm fine with it because I don't see this book as science fiction, even though it says right here science fiction. I see this book as a historical fiction, as a magical realism novel, because this novel is really about Dana witnessing slavery firsthand. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this book took me a long time to read, like I said, because of other priorities, Lady Midnight, but also it's just the fact that this book is really intense, and there were some parts that was so intense that I had to put the book down because I could not breathe. So if you want to read a book that is about slavery and how horrible it is, read this book. It's so amazing. Like, yes, it's made up, but the things that black people went through is not made up. This shit is fucking real. Like, it is so scary. Now, trigger warning. There is so many trigger warnings in this book. Slavery, rape, abuse, assault, suicide, and self-harm. If you want to read this book, then definitely go for it. Like, it's so damn good, but please be careful and please be cautious when you read this book because it's pretty intense. But this book was like an eye-opening novel for me, and I'm so glad I read Kindred this year because it was amazing. Like, I love this book so much. The last standalone on this list is We Are the Ants by Shaun David Hutchinson. I read this book in November. I loved it so much. It was so amazing. It's pretty thick, but you can finish this book in like a few days, definitely. But it took me a while because I was in school and I was so busy with other things, so it did take a while, but it was so freaking good. I have a book review and discussion for We Are the Ants, so of course I will link the video in the description box below. This book follows a boy named Henry. Basically, in the beginning of the novel, he is abducted by aliens, and the aliens gave him the option to save the earth. All he has to do is press this red button, and then boom, everything is good. But it's not easy for Henry because he's going through a lot in his life right now. His school life, his love life, his family life, everything has gone to shit because a lot of horrible things did happen to him over like the past few years or so. He's bullied in school, his brother is a piece of shit, his grandmother has Alzheimer's, his mother is pretty distant, and then his boyfriend Jesse committed suicide the year before. Basically, his life is shit shit, like I said. But then a boy named Diego Vega, he moves into Florida, and then, you know, they meet, they fall in love. So that's basically the story. It is so freaking good, but it's also very, very intense. Henry has gone through so much, and I sympathize with him with everything he has gone through because he's such a young boy. I'm not going to talk too much just because I have an entire video dedicated to this book. So if you want to hear like my in-depth review and discussion and everything, just watch that video because I will literally lay out everything for you in that video. But for now, I'm just gonna say that this book is so amazing. It is so much more than just like a love story. My synopsis makes it sound like it's a love story, but it's so much more. Now for the trigger warning, there's like a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Suicide, depression, excessive bullying, assault, and an attempted rape scene. So like I said, please be cautious when you read this book because it's pretty intense, kind of like Kindred, but this book is so fantastic and I'm so glad I read it in 2018. These last 3 books, I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious, you know, by the thickness of these 3 books, but here they are: Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness. So this is Lady Midnight. So this is the first book of TDA. This is Lord of Shadows. This is the second book of the trilogy, and then of course this last giant book that came out in the beginning of December, Queen of Air and Darkness. Isn't it beautiful? Like, I love this cover so much. I do have a book review and discussion for all of these books. Yes, these 3 giant books. I have a video for each and every one of these books, as you can see. And I also have a reading vlog for all 3 books as well. So I basically had like the time of my life reading the Dark Artifices trilogy because I have never read these books before. So it was my first time reading this trilogy in 2018. It was honestly so much fun. Like, ask Sandy from Sandy Reads a Lot. So for the synopsis, there's not much I can say, but I will give you like the brief rundown. Basically, this trilogy takes place 5 years after the ending of City of Heavenly Fire, which is the last book of the Mortal Instrument series. At the end of City of Heavenly Fire, a certain thing happened, and it basically has a huge impact on our characters in the Dark Artifices trilogy. In Lady Midnight, it follows Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne and 5,000 Blackthorne children at the Los Angeles Institute. And that's all I'm gonna say because this trilogy is so damn good. If you finish TMI and you're like, I think I should stop now, don't do that. Don't stop. Read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy and then read TDA. You will have so much fun with this trilogy because they're all so fantastic. Like, I love Lady Midnight, I love Lord of Shadows, and I love Queen of Air and Darkness. This trilogy is so damn good. Like, it's so entertaining, it's so funny. I love the characters so much. There's something I want to talk about, and it's the fact that these books are diverse. There are so many marginalized characters and they're all represented so well. This trilogy is so entertaining, but not just that, it's definitely getting more political. It is so complex because we have a lot of villains in this trilogy. These books are so worth it. Like, if you want to continue with the Shadowhunter Chronicles, I highly recommend reading the Dark Artifices trilogy. Like, there's just so many series in the Shadowhunter Chronicles, so I had to keep them separate. But TDA is fantastic. That's all I have to say. They're all fantastic. I love these books so much. I had so much fun reading these books at the end of 2018, and I'm so glad I read these books in 2018 because they're fantastic and I love them so much. So that is it for my favorite books of 2018 video. It's time to wrap this up because the sun is about to go down. It's 4:45 right now. So this is my last video of 2018. So I hope you guys have a fantastic year in 2018. I hope 2019 will be good to you. I am so excited for the next few videos I'm coming out in 2019, so keep a lookout for those videos. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.